Hello, I'm Kristen Stamper and I want to welcome you to my studio. Come on in and let's see what's happening. You're now in the front room of my home, which I use as a gallery space. I paint in oil and watercolor, mostly landscapes, but you'll see some other things along the way here. Mostly Indiana scenes. I'm very inspired by the garden that I grow each year, as well as many other places around me. I'm a big hiker, so a lot of these scenes are from places I've hiked to in our local woods here around Bloomington, Indiana. Here's a scene from our farmer's market. A scene from one of our forests. Here's one of my favorites. This is Bryant Creek near Morgan Monroe State Forest. Big oil painting I've done, big for me anyway. Here's a scene from my garden, watercolor. I call that prevailing. And various other things. You can see I'm really into plants and forms that flowers make. Another watercolor from my garden, Tiger and Trumpet. Here's a big watercolor I did based on a horse show at the Indiana State Fair. These horses had just finished their draft performance, so they were very eager to get out of their harnesses. So I call this State Fair jitters. Here are some more landscapes. Here's a scene from McCormick's Creek in oil, and Yellowwood State Forest. T.C. Steele's home. Here's one I call Sycamore Spectrum. That's down on Brummets Creek Road, if you're familiar with that area. There's one from the Yellowwood Forest I call Looking Towards Nashville. And here's one from Salt Creek Park in Nashville, Indiana. Well, let's take a few steps down here to my studio, just down the hall. Paintings everywhere, as you might expect. Here's some dogs I've loved and known. And here's Command Central. I have some gallery space here. This is a series of paintings I did when I visited with my sister in Central Coast, California. I don't know if you're familiar with Morro Bay, but that's Morro Rock. I did some hiking, so there's a trail scene. I enjoy sailing, so that's also a subject once in a while. Here's some works on paper. This is actually my brother, who's a professional trumpet player. Watercolor of him, really swinging, I call that one. And here's a couple more works on paper. These are oil on watercolor paper. And here's another watercolor. Down here on my easel is a work in progress. It's kind of a bigger painting for me. I'll back up a little bit to give you some scale. A scene near Medora, Indiana. I'm really into color, so you can see I've done a lot of color exploration. When it's time for me to, when I get ready to paint, I pick different colors. I don't work in the same palette consistently as many other artists do, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Here's the paint collection. I had to purchase this taboret to house it. So when I'm ready to paint, I really think hard about what colors I'm going to use, and then I put them in this tray to pick and choose from. And when I go outside to paint, I use this bag to carry them around. Here's another work in progress. This is at Morgan Monroe State Forest, Bryant Creek Lake, and some other sketchbooks with ideas and bits and pieces here. Here's my computer setup. I handle a pretty big photo collection. I'm always taking pictures of things that seem interesting to me. Here's a few more things. Oil paintings, watercolor paintings, small paintings. I do some paper crafting when I'm taking a break from painting. I really enjoy upcycling papers that and bits of paintings that may not have had such a good start or gotten used in other ways. I make a lot of unique one-of-a-kind cards. Here's a few cards made from my paintings, and more paintings. This is one of my dogs. Some awards. Let's see. Sailing. Oh, we came over here already. Let's go to this side. Up here I have some paintings that I did in North Carolina, where I used to live. A little collection of things that are left from that time period. And here's my library. And I'm lucky to have two big closets in this tiny room, so I have them chock full of supplies. Here's one that's mostly about production, with all kinds of supplies and cutting tools to make paper the right size to paint on, and all kinds of other things. This one over here houses my framing station and my tools. And I think you've pretty much seen it. Artists enjoy having mirrors in their studios to help them make the space bigger, and I certainly need that in this tiny studio. I'll leave you with this work in progress, and I want to thank you for coming, and I hope to see you soon.